Okay, so this is me, and we're doing a presentation on responsive websites. Ryan touched on the fact that the reason that Joomla and other platforms and all website developers are actually going towards the mobile and responsive websites is because everyone's got tablets, phones, and the idea of what we're trying to do with it is have the websites and emails and whatever it is that we're developing for people on the web so that it doesn't matter whether they're looking at on their fridge, their phone, or their huge, great big 60-inch television, the website works and displays properly regardless of what device they're looking on. One of the really huge factors that's leading this as well is that the open rate on advertising emails and marketing emails and your lead nurturing emails and so forth, 80% of the emails are getting opened on mobile devices. What we're trying to do with our marketing and so forth from all of our emails is we then, of course, drive the traffic back to our website. So we might have mobile-friendly emails that are easy for people to read. They go and click on it, they go onto your website, doesn't display properly on their phone, and they just go, nah, stuff it, can't be bothered. That's what we've got to try and get away from, and we've got to, whether we're using Joomla 2.5 or Joomla 3, we want the client's experiences to always display properly and for them to be able to get the information delivered to them in a way that they can actually read it all. Now, when we've had Joomla 3 come out, it's been touted as being a mobile-friendly framework. What we started doing before Joomla 3 came out was, and we're still using Joomla 2.5, we thought, well, okay, Bootstrap's coming on Joomla, and we started developing and looking for a way to be able to use these responsive websites that, despite the fact that Joomla 3 wasn't released yet, we could do that. And the way that we started doing these things was with a product called Joostrap, which is basically templates that have Bootstrap baked into them. And it's a it is templates that have 100% raw code from Bootstrap. So you can actually download from the Bootstrap website the CSS and the JavaScript and so forth, stick it into the Joostrap templates, and it will all display properly. There's no overrides or anything like that. Everything's built in, which means that the amount of code and the speed and the amount of overheads that are on there means that the websites are delivered really, really quickly, and the really low amount of bandwidth, which means that when people are out and they're using their mobile phones, it's still going to get delivered quickly. So a lot of the Joomla template frameworks can have quite a big back end and framework that they build in themselves, whereas this one is really light, really fast, and displays properly. The way I got roped into this presentation today was that I went to the Sydney Joomla Day last year, and the guy who started off Joostrap had a video presentation, and we're going to have him dial in after this as well. So we'll have Skype, so you can actually ask the developer over Skype any questions and so forth at the end of it. And we're going to have a presentation now where he's going to take us through and show us how you can use Joostrap to quickly get websites out, prototype, and how Bootstrap works for us to be able to construct our content on our websites. And here we go. Now you can go in and look at all the stuff on his website here, which is a joostrap.com one. changed his website on me. There we go.
Hi there, I'm Philip Locke. I'm here to talk to you about Bootstrap and how to create a rapid prototype. A little bit about me first. I started using content management systems back 1998. Back in that time it was very much a bespoke CMS that I was using. And I was consulting for a company who used to charge the client anything upwards of $100,000 a year just for the licensing per year. That didn't include support or anything at all. Back in 2002/3 I came across this wonderful thing that was free. It was called Mambo. And that's the last time I ever worked for a client and charged them a license fee for their CMS. Like everybody else, I moved across very early to Joomla 1.0 back in 2005 or such. Everything I do now, I try and advocate open source. It's the way to go. You know, the UK is grabbing hold of it and have been for the last couple of years now, especially government institutes. I'm an ex-OSM board member. I was the capital committee chair, so I was in charge of looking after sponsorships, getting money in, and also involved in a lot of conversations about you know, the good things, the bad things that happen in Joomla. Primarily I'm a front-end developer. I do code extensions, but my preference is working with the client on templating and you know, getting a great website up and running. Hopefully you'll be saying this a little bit later once you've seen me do a rapid prototype and you know, you start playing with Bootstrap yourself. So why is Bootstrap so awesome? Just a little bit of history. It was launched by a couple of guys from Twitter, a guy called Mark Otto and Jacob Thornton, absolute uber geeks. Follow them on Twitter. I'm sure you'll have a giggle. They launched it back in August 2011 as really a grid system. It's changed a lot since then to be responsive, and fairly recently, in September this year, the two guys left Twitter to go their sort of like their separate ways, new ventures and what have you. But Bootstrap still exists, okay, and it will continue to grow, and you know, Mark and Jacob will both be involved heavily in it. So what is Bootstrap? Bootstrap uses the latest technologies. It uses HTML5, CSS3, and one of my favorites is less for creating CSS on the fly. So you know, everything is looked after. You know, typography, buttons. You know, the grid system, which is superb, and they have some great JavaScript. It's so good that you know, and I'm really grateful that this has happened. But we've just launched Joomla 3, which the back end now is Bootstrap, you know, which is wonderful. So I can sit downstairs in the evening, you know, watching the TV and editing my my websites via my iPad or even my mobile phone, which is fantastic. It's a front-end toolkit for, you know, and was set up primarily to rapidly prototype websites. It's not the only thing it will do, but it gets you there quicker. A lot of people used to say to me, you know, I charge an extra 25% for doing responsive web designs, I actually say to the contrary. I actually can create a responsive web design with Bootstrap, and my framework that I use, which is Joostrap. I can create a website a lot quicker. And I'm going to show you that a little bit later by creating a rapid prototype that we can go to a client for sign-off. So in essence, it makes our lives so much easier. And it empowers the likes of you and me to really get projects out the door quickly and efficiently by using code that I personally, because I've created Joostrap and I use Joostrap for every single client. I know the code and I can quickly get things out the door. I know it's going to work and I know they're going to be happy. A lot of people some time ago, and still a few today, say, I can tell a Bootstrap website a million miles away. Of course you can. If you leave it and just use the base CSS that Bootstrap gives us, yeah, they all will look the same. They might be laid out in the grid differently, but they'll all look the same. With Joostrap, the template that I use, okay, what I always say to people using it is never touch the Bootstrap CSS or the JavaScript, okay, because Bootstrap has always been updated, bug fixes and new bits and pieces. Don't touch it, okay, so we can always update that. What I do is I have a custom CSS file which is loaded last. And with that custom CSS file we can overwrite or add any new CSS classes, but we can also overwrite anything in the Bootstrap CSS. At the end of the day, it is just CSS, okay, so that's what makes it so easy to work with. Just a couple of websites that I'm working on at this moment in time, or have finished. This is one for an educational authority up in the north of the UK. Another one for the local tourism partnership up in Scotland. Here's one done by one of my guys, which, as you can see, doesn't look like Joostrap at all. Another one here, we can have them as minimalistic as you want. As I say, it is, Bootstrap is just a grid system with some great CSS and JavaScript behind the scenes that we can use or not use. It's just CSS, and it's as simple as that. This is one that I'm working on just at this moment in time, and what we're going to have at the end of the day, all of these hexagons will actually move and shuffle around as you go down through smaller devices. So when you get down to an iPhone size mobile device, the menu will change. Okay, so it'll be the typical sort of button that you can click on, and the menu will drop down. The hexagons will be in two columns nicely. The bits of paper, which is pure CSS, CSS3, okay, all readable by Google. All of the text will all resize. It'll be great, and it'll be a nice little showcase for myself. Okay, so what are we going to do? Next, I'm going to quickly show you via the browser how, using Bootstrap and the grid system, we can very quickly knock up a rapid prototype. And I'm not talking days, I'm not talking hours, I'm talking more minutes. Okay, so that once we've decided what the layout should be with a client, okay, we can either go away or actually just pop into reception and quickly knock it up, so that we can then go back to the client, get sign off on the layout and how things should work, and move forward and just do the CSS, okay, to make it look not like Bootstrap. This is the wireframe that we're going to knock up in the browser. Okay, it looks quite busy, but when I show you the finished website afterwards, you'll see why they have so many positions and so many bits and pieces. Right, let's make a start. Okay, 3 tabs open here in my browser. This one here shows my layout. It's just a copy of the mock-up image. Okay, I've got my administrator and I've got a blank Joostrap template. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is just to add a couple of menu items so that we can demo those in the finished template. So let's create a couple. Okay, so demo link 1. And another one. Demo link 2. Okay, so we've just got a couple of links here just to show in the prototype when we're finished. Okay, so if we go to the menu manager now, module manager. Okay, we are going to just grab a module just to show the top navigation. Okay, we want to hide the module title. We're just going to pop this in the top nav. Okay, show on all pages and save. Okay, so if we go back, do a refresh on the actual template now, we can see up at the top we have some links. Next to do is we want to create these modules here for the logo and strapline, the telephone and button. Because it's a grid, what we're going to be doing is adding all of these modules into the same module position, but we're going to be spacing them out with spans. So let's create our first one. As this is just a prototype, I'm just going to use a custom HTML. I'm not going to start putting in logo images or anything like that. And I want to place this in my above position. Okay, let's just grab that. Okay, as I said, we're just going to put this one as a span 6. Okay, because we want it to be half the width of the 12-column Bootstrap grid, and save that. Okay, we'll create another one for our telephone. And put that in exactly the same position, but this time we're going to give it a span of 3. And the last one on that row is our button. This is the button over on the right hand side here, which is again going to be a span 3. Again in the above position, and we'll give it a span of 3 and save that. Just need to make sure they're in the right order, so we'll reorder these. So we want our logo as number 1, our telephone number 2, and our button number 3. Okay, so let's do a refresh. Okay, there we go. So we have our first row here. Okay, the next row we want to create is our slideshow and our image. Different spacing again. I'm going to space the slideshow as a span 8 and the image as a span 4. But we're actually going to be putting it into the same position. Okay, so we need to add something a little bit different because this is all in the above position, and this is going to be in the above position as well. This is going to have to, the slideshow is going to have to wrap. Now we have to add something different to the span, because if we don't, we'll get a margin on the left hand side here because it thinks it's, you know, just to the right of the button. So let's add this slideshow. I'm just going to add a bit of padding there in the not padding, sorry, a bit of text there just to, you know, make the module a bit deeper. Okay, so the difference here is that because we're going on to a second row and we don't want that margin on the left, okay, we're adding this class here, which is first, just before the span, so that it knows to take away the margin. Okay, and our next one is our image. Because we've made this one a span 8, we're going to make this one a span of 4. Okay, so image. In the above position. Make it a little bit deeper. This one we can just put as span 4 because it's not the first on the second row. So if we just save that and we'll number them or put them in the right order and save. So if we do a refresh now, we can see we have our slideshow and we have our image span on the right hand side. Okay, next on the list is our briefing and our blog listings. I'm actually going to put these in the right position. I've already gone into the Joostrap template parameters. We can actually set the left and the right positions to be a certain amount of columns. So we can have them as 3 or 4 or 2, whatever we want. I've set them as 4 on the right hand side just at the moment. So this one is our, ooh, can't type, is our briefing. I'm going to put that on the right hand side. Let's just put some text in here just to make the module a little bit deeper. We don't have to put a span in the module suffix, module class suffix, as we've already set that in the template parameters. So if we go back, do a refresh, we can see we've got our briefing now on the right hand side here. Okay, we need to add the next one, which is the blog listings. So again, custom HTML, blog listings on the right hand side, or in the right positions. Just make it a little bit deeper. Again, we don't have to put a module class suffix span in there. Okay, so we can see now that we've got our two right module position modules. Okay, next on our list is the call to actions and the 3 down at the bottom here. This whole area here to the left of the right position is our component position. So with these, what we can actually do is we can still treat this as a 12 grid position here, because got a little bit of whizzy stuff in the template that ignores the right hand side with a view to the columns, and we can still work on a 12 grid position inside the component. So we're going to make the CTA 3, 3, 3, 3 equivalent to 12. So let's add those now. Again, custom HTML module, CTA1. I'm going to put those in the above content position. And as I said, I want to give this a span of 3 because we're going to have 4 of them, so span 3. Okay, just going to cheat here, and I am going to duplicate that one a further 3 times. So let's just go in and change this now to CTA2. Publish it. We've already set the span here, the module class suffix, so we'll leave that alone and we'll just save it. Okay, let's do our next one, which is going to be number 3. And we set it to publish and save. And the last one, number 4. Publish and save. Just want to put these in the right order. So we want CTA 1 as number 1, 2 as number 2, 3 and 4. Let's just save that. Do a refresh, and we can see that our prototype is taking shape. Okay, next on the list are the 3 just below the call to actions: success stories, featured articles and press. Again, this is a width of 12 columns in this area, so we're going to do a 4, a 4 and a 4. So this is success stories. I'm going to put this one in the below content position. And with a span 4. We've got 3 of them, so 4 3 is 12. Okay, and my next one is featured articles, so I'm just going to cheat again, make a copy of these. Featured articles. Publish. And we've already, again, because I've just made a duplicate, we've got the span in there already. Okay, and my last one, which is called press. And I can't type. Publish and save. Just want to make sure that these are in the right order, so we've got What do we have? Right, so success stories first, featured articles second, and press third. Okay, let's do a refresh back on the website. Okay, looking good. So our last ones are our footers and copyright. So let's quickly do the footers. So, footer 1. I want that, would you believe, in the footer position. If I could spell. And this is 100% width of the site. Okay, the 12 columns in this particular position. So we're going to do a 3-3-3 span all the way across. So if we do a span, span 3, okay, and again, just to save a bit of time, I'm just going to duplicate 3 more of those. Let's just go in and change those. Span 2. And we'll publish it. Don't need to set the span because we've already got it in there by doing our duplication. And change this one to number 3. Publish. Save. And our last one, which is 4. Publish. And save. We just make sure they're in the right order, which they are not. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4. Save that. Let's do a refresh. And there we go, we have our 4 positions down at the bottom for our footers. And the last one is our copyright, which goes 100% across the bottom. So nice and easy. Okay, copyright, and we're going to put that, would you believe, in the copyright position. We're actually not going to put a span in here because if we don't put a span, it will just stretch 100% across the 12 columns. So let's just save that. Okay, go back, do a refresh, and would you believe we've got a copyright all along the bottom. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay, good enough for demoing to the client. Okay, the great thing about Bootstrap and also my Joostrap template is that not only does this work, okay, we could have added a couple of pages in here for the demo links and what have you, but it is also responsive. Okay, so as you can see, everything is just falling nicely into the right position. Okay, and also our menu works here. Okay, another great thing about Bootstrap is that what we can do, we can actually hide certain things. So for example, a lot of people don't like slideshows on mobiles. If you don't want it, we can hide it and say don't show it for mobile devices or mobile and iPad, just show it on the desktop, and all that is purely another suffix, module class suffix. So for example, let's go to the slideshow here, and we can just put in another module suffix called hidden phone. Do a save on that. So if we do a refresh on the website now, okay, we can see that the slideshow is here for desktop. But hey, it's disappeared when we get down to mobile phone size. We still retain the logo, the telephone, the button, the image, but the slideshow disappears. Easy as that. So there you have it, the finished template that we've just prototyped up, styled, custom modules, slideshow, etc, etc. You can visit this particular website at anchorus.com. On your desktop, your iPad, your mobile phone, it's totally responsive. It's quite a busy website. They're a Google partner and have a lot to say. Great thing about Bootstrap and Joostrap is that I use it exactly the same way every single time I do a prototype. It's very, very quick. You get used to the code very, very quickly. Once you're used to it, it's just putting spans in place and just CSS. It's the way that I'm hoping a lot of people will go. Because we can all talk the same language, like we all talk the same Joomla language, we could all talk the same templating language. My aims are not, as it says here, my aims are to not say awesome anymore. I get told off by my kids all the time. Anyway, time for questions, I think.
Now we've got Phil coming in through Skype from the UK, so you can ask questions directly to him about his template and what he does with design and so forth. And then after that, I'll go on with any other extra questions that you've got, which is basically what I ended up doing with Phil following on from his talk when we were up in Sydney. Hopefully he's still there. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hey.
Hey there, Phil. How you going?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got everyone here, and what we'll do is get some questions from them. If you just want me to repeat the question, let me know if you can't hear it, and I can repeat it for you.
Cool.
Okay. Have we got questions for Phil?
I'm just wondering, Internet Explorer, I've got 2 questions. I'm wondering whether Internet Explorer presents any problems with Bootstrap. And my second question is, what's the relationship between Gantry and Bootstrap?
Okay, we had 2 questions, Phil. One of them was on Internet Explorer and whether Internet Explorer has any issues with Bootstrap. And the other one was its relationship to Gantry and if there was any sort of connection with Gantry. Did you hear that?
No, I'm not getting facts.
There was one question was how is it with Internet Explorer and whether there's any issues of Bootstrap with Internet Explorer. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And the other one was its relationship to Gantry. Whether there is any.
No, there's no relationship whatsoever with Gantry. Okay. With IE, it works brilliantly with the newest versions of IE, but we do have a couple of JS files that we can just pop in to do the fixes for things like IE7 and lower versions.
And that's not really specific to just Bootstrap itself. That's more the jQuery and those sorts of issues, and CSS3 issues as opposed to Bootstrap itself.
Sorry, Max, I'm not getting, you're breaking up quite a bit.
The problems with IE aren't particularly just Bootstrap. They're related to more IE conflicts with jQuery and CSS3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
On the note of jQuery, Moodle, and browser compatibility, I know that Joostrap is loading new tools only to menu items. Perhaps can you just comment on the rationale or logic of that?
So it's the
It's a compatibility, general compatibility question.
with Moodles and jQuery.
Sorry, just
The template only loads new tools with the menu items. That's the logic behind that. So I see some conflict which I can't resolve.
I think that it's the logic. Internet. I'm getting an internet connection problem. It's the logic behind loading Moodles. What I might do, I'll turn the video off so that it's going a bit better.
yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's the logic behind loading Moodles from menu items, and was it also? Yeah, so you have to nominate menu item IDs for the template to load Moodles, and the logic behind that.
Okay, so what we're doing there is we're actually unsetting Moodles across the whole of the Joostrap template. But we have got some logic in there so that via the template parameters, you can load certain IDs so that they have Moodles enabled. We have come across a couple of conflicts where Moodles doesn't play nicely with jQuery, but they've been on sort of really specific components. That's all.
You're saying Sobi is one of these components?
I've actually not found a problem with Sobi. Sobi works nicely with Moodles turned on for that specific component, with no conflicts whatsoever with jQuery.
Yeah, Matthias will follow up that up with you offline.
Okay, cool. I mean, I've not heard of anything. I've got it working nicely.
And in your actual template, you've got a whole heap of overrides that are specially built for Sobi Pro as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Same John Social and other components, K2, etc.
Yeah, and so that comes as part of his template package. It actually has those in there with it as well.
Just out of curiosity, when we were talking about the IE problem before, and then Philip mentioned that you can include minimize scripts and etc., which is pretty much what you should be doing for all responsive templates as far as I'm concerned, with jackets and backward compatibility. It sounded like that's not included in the Joostrap. Is there a reason why minimizer, I guess to put it quickly, is there a reason why minimizer or another JavaScript tool has not been used to make the backward compatibility for the older browsers?
Yeah, the thing was on going back to what we were talking about before, the IE compatibility. Is there a reason that Minimizer or a similar JavaScript's not actually included with the template by default to allow that backward compatibility?
Well, I mean, it's a funny thing. One question I keep on being asked is, I'm using IE7, I'm narrowing my browser, and certain things in mobile view do not work. Well, I personally on my iPhone, on my iPad, all the rest of it, I don't run IE7. As long as we get the template working nicely in IE7 on desktop, then I don't see an issue personally.
But it's also Firefox and Bootstrap, and there's various other browsers.
Does that sort of answer the question?
Yeah, and
It's an interesting choice to not include it.
yeah, and so they're just saying it's an interesting choice not to include it, as a default thing for allowing that backwards compatibility with even old versions of Firefox and so forth.
Right. Okay. I mean, I do on a couple of sites. I deal with a couple of county councils where, I have to have Joostrap and Bootstrap working on IE7. I have for a couple of things I've had to use Modernizer.js.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else for Phil while we've got him?
Just a quick question. Obviously, Joomla 3 Ryan mentioned earlier is Bootstrap enabled.
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect, like, we're using Joostrap on a 2.5 site and then we upgrade to future to 3.0. I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on there.
Okay, so they're using Joostrap on a 2.5 site, and with Joomla 3, Bootstrap sort of comes pre-installed on there, and I think it's just getting, I suppose, clarity on the difference between the two of Bootstrap in Joomla 3 already coming with the Joomla 3 already coming with Bootstrap as opposed to 2.5 running with your template. Is that?
When we upgrade.
Yeah. So when you upgrade, what's the what's the issue or process, I guess?
Okay, so with 2.5, there is no Bootstrap whatsoever. We're not pulling Bootstrap from the media folder in Joomla. In 2.5, in version 3, if you're using something like ProStar or something, you'll see that you're pulling the Bootstrap files from the media folder. We don't pull, in Joomla 3.0, we don't pull any of the media folder files at all. Reason I made that decision was because I didn't know how often Joomla would be upgrading those Bootstrap files to keep in line with the Twitter Bootstrap guides. So it's good for us that with 3.0, if we want to keep up to date with the Bootstrap files, we can just drop them into our JS or CSS file in the template folder.